art education teaches people, and like not just kids, but people in general, to think outside of what you know. It's like, I can't even explain to words, like art education is needed. You need art in your life to flourish.
The reason why it's important for kids to grow up having art classes, it stimulates a different kind of imagination and creativity.
Creativity, exploring art, exploring music, exploring theater, these creative outlets. At least for me, it was a way to find myself and to find my voice. And especially in a place like Philadelphia, you look at the way schools are often like underfunded or don't have as much resources. Like walking into an art class and having 30 minutes to an hour to just like free roam can be a real escape for a lot of these kids. It was an escape for me.
Growing up as a kid, I wasn't really a social kid. I wasn't really an outward kid. I wasn't really a loud kid. I was really to myself. And drawing was like that outlet for me.
So being creative, being able to adapt, being able to collaborate is something that can happen in all classrooms, but it always inherently happens in the art classroom.
When I was younger, I didn't quite fit into the one-size-fits-all public education system, and I struggled academically. And the only time that I really felt success was when I was in my art class. And when I realized that students in Philadelphia and students around the United States didn't have access to art programs, I really wanted to make sure that students who were creative, who might have come from a similar background as me, had that access so that they could feel success.
Art has a purpose for making kids really see themselves in a different way. And that is really important if you're as battered by life as a lot of the kids that we meet are, by lack of money or a roof over their heads or enough to eat. And the fact that they know they can make something that people truly treasure, not just mom or auntie or grandma, is something that we put in their back pockets to pull out when they need it.
The genesis of Fresh Artists happened during a project that Barbara and I were working on. This was in 2007. The school district of Philadelphia had just consolidated all of their 10 offices throughout the city into one major office downtown. And he brought Barbara in to bring the face of the children into the building. We were using large format digital printing, reproducing student artwork to fit the grand scale of this building. Sort of one day, Barbara and I just had this aha moment, seeing all of the funding disappearing from the school district, all of the people that just had moved in 6 months ago, getting their pink slips and moving out of the building because the school district had lost all of its funding because of the economic crisis, where we sort of realized that we had a great need in the school district of Philadelphia. Their budget had gone from 83 cents per child about for art supplies to $0.
My first year teaching, I had $0 as an art budget. I was given a pack of copy paper, some old markers, and some pencils.
They just had nothing to work with. They had no supplies, no budget.
So seeing this need in the school district and then stumbling upon this solution of these artworks. So while we were hanging the artwork in the building, the contractors would be coming in to service the telephone system or sell photocopiers or lunch school programs. And every single one of them would pass one of these large-scale reproductions of a kindergartner's artwork and say, "That is amazing, where can I get one of those?"
We'd seen the success of these ginormous pieces put up all over the building with everybody wanting one, which of course we couldn't give them because they weren't ours to give. But what if we went to the kids and asked them to be part of the solution and to create from the very beginning DNA of Fresh Artists the idea that the child is empowered as the first giver. And I thought, we'll start a nonprofit and we'll address all of the proceeds to go directly to fix the problem, which was lack of resources for the art teachers.
So the initial presentation, about Fresh Artists and what the organization is about and what they would do for us was met with a lot of skepticism. I think a lot of people thought, why is this important? These are people who spend their days working with clients who are from very traumatized backgrounds. Typically, public defenders are underfunded as a system. And so our attorneys, our social workers, our investigators are very busy, and they are constantly on the move in and out of the courtroom. And so of all the things to prioritize and all of the things to focus on, there was the sense of why art. We need a new copier. Our printer breaks down every other week. They didn't understand why I wanted to bring art in. I think people underestimate the power of art in a space, and to go from a beige or gray wall and then to put the art in and watch people's reaction to that art, to marvel that this was done by a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old. And it really changed the space.
We never really had an office where we were proud of bringing clients in and have our employees be happy to work there. And the picture that's outside my office, I know the story of the young girl who actually drew that picture, and it just makes your heart happy, just because she's actually changing my life. When I'm having a bad day, I just look out and I'm just like, wow, it's awesome that they're touching our lives every day.
Pediatric Special Care is a residential program for medically fragile children. So the children reside in our program. It could be short-term, it could be transitional. We were getting ready to open up our Philadelphia location, and I was looking for essentially children's art to bring the building to life. And some of our children are cognitively devastated, while some are ambulatory and can interact. And so it just has such a positive presence in the building, and not just for the children, but for the families and for the staff members.
It's extremely inspiring to corporations to think, wow, I'm not the only one giving to help kids access art. The children are actually the ones who are the first donors.
Our philanthropists are short, multicolored, multicultural, and what we're trying to do is change the paradigm, because it feels so good to give. And I think that the coolest thing about Fresh Artists is that we are imparting that to kids.
I believe that they can grow up and do and be whatever they want to. And when you're a kid, I don't know if you really believe that that's truth. But Fresh Artists really made it tangible. So they took something that they worked on in class or in the design lab and turned it into something that could be sold, could be seen by people, could be purchased and hung in their house.
At the end of the program, I believe she was the art director of the Land Nod. She came in and she said, based on how you work, here are careers that I feel like all of you would fit into really well. And I feel like this was a very special moment for me, because it definitely led me to where I am now. Because she said she loved how I commanded the room, how I kind of took charge. She said, you will be an amazing art director. And then as soon as I found out what it was, I was like, yes. It literally became a sense of, like an epiphany-like situation where I'm like, wow, I can actually do that.
Through Fresh Artists' many different programs that we've designed over the years, what we hope is that we open that door in that creative child, in their minds, to the possibilities that everything around them has been designed thoughtfully. And I think unlocking that seed in their brain of seeing the world just a little bit differently through a different lens, coupled with the understanding that they have something to give back to the world that may not exist yet, but the possibilities that they can create those things.
When I walk into Fresh Artists, I feel safe. I feel like my art will not be looked at differently here. I feel like it'll be celebrated as much as I celebrate my own art.
This really is not about learning to make art. The art is what transports you. The design, the creativity is what transports you into a whole person. There is a feeling of well-being, I think, that is you can't beat it. There's a great comment from a teacher when I said, well, what did Jeremy say when you told him he got the invitation? And she said, he immediately walked taller, and he never stopped walking tall.